Hello and welcome again to another episode of Battle Ready. And today we thought we'd talk about something we have a little bit of experience with, but maybe not as much as, I'm sure not as much as many people have.
Especially the tournament players.
Sure, and that is the sort of god level creatures in Warhammer, in Age of Sigmar. We're talking people like Kragnos, Archaon,
the Glotkin, essentially.
Glotkin, the things that are
big,
well over 500 points in your army.
All of Gargants, all of the Mega Gargants.
I don't know if they're over 500. I think they're under 500. I think they're in the 400s, like a Maw Crusher. But anyway, we're talking about those big. Well, Teclis is another one. And are they good for the game? Morathi. Are they good for the game? Are they fun? Are they fun to play against? And how do they change things up? And I'll say, the reason that we're talking about this, the reason it's sort of top of mind for us is because we've got ourselves a Kragnos, a Nagash,
Nagash, don't
and
die.
a Glotkin.
I know you. I realize you want to go back to the Underworlds. Not right now.
He's the god of death. He'll just come back. The reason we got these, by the way, is because Games Workshop prices were going up, and I got suckered into thinking, oh no, well, I might as well get them now, and then that way, I won't have to pay more later.
The god monsters would go down.
Yeah, right. Nothing goes down for Games Workshop. They don't have sales. But, so I got these three models because each of these models, it's Kragnos, Nagash, and Glotkin, are models that I'm interested in.
Yes, me too.
I mean, there's other god monsters. Teclis, very interesting, but we don't really play Lumineth. No. Archaon, really interesting. We don't have Slaves of Darkness.
But we really don't play Lumineth, as in we don't have Lumineth and we're not interested.
Yeah. So what we do have, though, is Morathi for Daughters of Cain. And we have both played Morathi and played against Morathi.
Really hard.
And so Morathi is an interesting challenge because unlike sort of some of the other god-level monsters who just have incredible abilities, one of Morathi's incredible abilities is
she can't die.
It's really hard to kill her, right? She's got 12 wounds.
You can only
take 3 off per turn.
In round 2, if everything goes perfectly, she dies.
Right. So rather than, charging in with your best buffed up unit and trying to, bring it down or whatever.
It'll get smashed.
They're not going to be able to damage her enough. Wait a minute. So what you have to do is throw a few wounds on her this turn. And dedicate a few of your wounds over there. Try to chip off, 3 each turn. And don't dedicate your whole huge unit the way you would to maybe try to kill a Maw Crusher or a Gargant or something like that.
I think, unless they've said this, I think I realized something.
What?
Can you use heroic recovery to heal Morathi?
You can't. Morathi, part of her ability is she cannot heal in any way. So no artifact, no heroic recovery, no spell. Even if there was I don't think there are any spells like that in Daughters of Cain, but let's say there was some ally you could bring in or something. Let's just...
Lord Arcanum.
Lord Relictor has that prayer.
Oh yeah, Lord Arcanum has the spell. The Healing Light.
Does it heal?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Lord Arcanum on Griff Charger. Yep, you're right.
On Griff Charger.
But let's just say that there was a way to do it. You can't. Morathi's rule is no healing of any kind ever. Because otherwise she'd be impossible to kill.
No.
I mean, she'd
be worth 999 points.
Yeah.
Which is what Arcane should be worth.
It's almost what Nagash is.
Oh yeah, he's like 720.
He's in the 900. No, Nagash is in the 900s. But rather than talking about their points, this isn't a show about points.
You bring Nagash, you have like 5 Night Hot models left.
What we're going to talk about is how do they impact the game? How do they make things different? I'll say for Morathi, what it does is it adds, into my mind, it adds another challenge to the battlefield, right? Normally, your challenge is how do I hold these objectives? How do I make sure I keep my opponent from taking this one? How do I take that one from my opponent? In a normal situation, right, I'm trying to keep my objectives covered. I'm trying to take objectives away from my opponent. I'm trying to make sure I can complete my battle tactics. And the other guy's doing the same thing. So how do I stop him from completing his battle tactics? So you're both sort of being asked the same questions, how to get objectives, and you both have to come up with the answers. But once you put Morathi on the table, Now the questions aren't the same anymore.
No.
My questions, if I have Morathi, my questions are still mostly, how do I get that objective? How do I hold these ones? But Drake's questions are now those questions plus, how do I deal with Morathi? And that could mean leaving her alone. Sort of hard because she flies and she's got a good movement. But maybe, and especially when the tables were bigger, you could avoid her a little bit better.
I also kind of have a new strategy I just came up with.
What was that?
To stop Morathi. Send a break of 40 chain rasps after her.
I don't know. She does a lot of damage.
The buff chain rasps that I use the Death Star.
Oh yeah, they would do a lot of damage, but how much of that damage would get dealt to her?
3.
Right? So it's not a good plan.
I mean, you could use shooting with Kira to stay away from her.
No, yeah, I think stuff like that where you just give her, maybe your Ironclad has a lot of shooting, so you just say, just these couple weapons at Morathi and the rest will go elsewhere, right? You don't want to put everything in her or you'll waste. But that's the thing, is now you're thinking, all right, in addition to those other things, I have new important questions to answer, which is, how do I handle Morathi?
Until you get rid of her.
Until you get rid of her. How do I get rid of her then, right?
Yeah, that's the new question.
So it really sort of changes what the game is about. I will say also with Daughters of Cain, you get a lot fewer units if you bring Morathi. Currently, as of this recording, Morathi is 660 points. That might change. Night Hunt's a new book is coming out in the near future, so that might change soon. But at 660 points, she's well over a quarter of your army. And that means you're taking fewer things than you otherwise would. Now, I know at the tournament scene and everything, Morathi and her Bow Snakes, that indie band, it's a rock band, Morathi and her Bow Snakes. She's got a command trait that makes her worth even more and that sort of thing. So but that's not what we're getting into. We're getting into how does it change the way the game is played. So Drake, you've played Morathi, right? What do you think? Is she fun to play?
Yep, this is how you play Morathi. You send her at the biggest things you can find.
Yeah.
She's the thing you use for Bring It Down. Because she can deal damage, and she hardly takes any damage.
And I think she's a monster, so she would get you the bonus command point if you did broken ranks or whatever with her.
You get a bonus command point when you do broken ranks with monster.
Some of the things, like if you in Ferocious Advance, if all 3 things that run are monsters, you get a bonus point.
You need to be that one dynasty that gives all your zombie dragons the thing.
Oh yeah,
because all zombie dragons are monsters. So you just go.
What is that one? The Avangori.
That's how you do. That's one.
Or you could be Thunder Lizards, where the Stegodons are battle line, and then you're just all Steggies. So there's definitely ways to do that. You were saying you throw her at the biggest thing.
The biggest thing you can find, just yeet it out.
Especially
or
early
the closest
on.
Thing you can
especially in the first turn, because in the first turn, she can't even bracket, right? She doesn't bracket until she hits 4 wounds taken. So that first turn, you can throw her into whatever, knowing that, and you can have her fight last, because she is not going to decrease in efficiency that first turn.
Yeah.
She's got some pretty good hitting power.
She can do some damage.
She can do some work.
She can do some bracketing.
So that's a good way to use her. Is she's a good piece that you can pretty much, particularly early on, just sort of throw at people. Now, eventually she does bracket.
So then that question comes back.
And she's not as good when she's bracketed. But at full health in that top bracket, or, now that we're playing in Gur every time, you spend the command point to make her fight at her top bracket. That's good too.
Kragnos has a rule similar to Morathi, but he can take D6 wounds instead of 3.
If something were to insta-kill him.
Yeah. He takes D6.
She takes 3 if something insta-kills her. But, all right, so that's if you play her. And I agree, it's super fun to play Morathi because you've just got this big stompy piece of Stomp Town.
Morathi's the only thing that can survive a 5 6s with a mesmerizing mirror. Or 6 6s with a mesmerizing
36
mirror.
mortals, yep, she'd only take 3.
I couldn't imagine someone getting that.
What does it feel like to play against Morathi?
You feed her little bits of things and you run away.
Is it still fun if your opponent has Morathi?
Yes, you just lose more models.
Well, that's what Warhammer's about, though. You're gonna lose models, right? If you make your army thinking, aha, clearly all of these men will survive and return to their families, you're playing the wrong game.
Unless you're playing Stormcast, then they will return to their families.
I think they'll return to their Sigmar. Their Sigmar family.
Or all of the undead. All of the undead are fine.
Yes, they'll return home. That's true.
Some Magican. The plagues might revive them.
I guess the demons return home. Yeah, a lot of people return home.
Yeah,
that's true.
Just Not the Age of Sigmar particularly.
No, the Cities of Sigmar, not them.
Or All of Destruction.
Yeah. But, yeah, I think if you're playing against Morathi, it definitely adds another layer of challenge. I think it's still fun.
Yes.
I actually like playing against Morathi, but it's definitely another layer of challenge. And you've got to think very strategically, but also very tactically.
Tactically.
Right? Tactically.
Tactically.
So if your opponent is bringing Morathi this way, you have to decide, I was gonna go over there and do something.
Now this is what you do.
But now maybe that other objective is looking more attractive. Right? Now maybe I'm gonna go that way. So you have to be prepared to change your plans because this big thing is messing you up and you've got to be able to react to it. So I like that too. But it does make the game feel different.
Yes.
Playing against Morathi, or playing with Morathi, either way, it feels a little bit different than sort of standard Warhammer. In the armies that we create, or that I make, the lists, I like to usually have, maybe one, maybe two sort of centerpiece models, a big model that does a big thing, whether it's Bastion Carthalos, or the Black Coach.
Or the entirety of the Mega Gargants.
Or, we don't have a Mega Gargants.
But that would work.
Or the Ironclad in Caradron.
Or these three models.
Or, who do we have? I've got a Great Unclean one. Glutos for Slaanesh. Changer of Ways. So each army, I try to have one sort of bigger
theme.
Guy. But when it comes to Morathi, that's mega bigger.
Bigger than bigger.
Yeah, she's a mega snake. So, what I'm wondering is, and the reason we're talking about it is, I'm assuming that a lot of that ports over to these guys, right? If the Glotkin, who is 700 points, so that's more than Morathi.
Is that how big he actually is?
He might be close to that big.
He's
that high off the ground.
He's so big!
Yeah, it's probably close to that. But if we bring the Glotkin, the Nurgle army is going to be a lot less.
You'll have one
the list I have
3 units of Blightkins.
for the Glotkin.
That's it.
It's the Glotkin, 3 units of Blightkings.
3 units of 5 Blightkings.
I think it's.
You'd have to have 3 units of 5.
No, I think I still have 20. I think I have 1 10 and 2 5s.
You can't.
The Glotkin, and then a Lord of Blight and a Lord of Plagues, and that's it. So no Buzzboys, no Blowab.
That's 17 models.
No demons of any kind. It would be 23.
Oh yeah.
23. But I'm guessing it's going to change the way the game is played, right?
Yeah.
The Glotkin, like Morathi, makes you answer different questions.
Yep.
I think the Glotkin are going to make you answer different questions. One of the things they do is they can charge in the enemy movement phase. So when you're moving around, you've got to be careful where you move, because if you move close to him, he and a unit of Blight Kings near him can actually charge in your turn. So that's going to make you play the game different, right?
Yep.
Right? Kragnos gives everybody 3d6 charge.
So with things that do impact hits, you get more impact hits.
That's true, but even in a normal game, I might be outside of, I might be far back and be thinking to myself, oh, okay, I'm far enough away that I don't have to worry about you.
Hello.
But you do a walk on up, and Kragnos gives them the 3d6 charge.
Then you're suddenly thinking.
And suddenly there's trolls. So what I'm really interested in to see is, for people who have experience with the god monsters, in particular these 3, but any of the god monsters really, do you enjoy playing with them? Do you enjoy playing against them? That challenge, that change to the way that Warhammer plays, is it interesting and intriguing, or are they broken and unfun and terrible? I'm hoping that, like Morathi, each of them will provide an interesting and different challenge for us to sort of mess around with. And I think that clearly none of these guys are going to work in our 1,000 point games or our Path to Glory, right? Yep. But in our matched play, it might be fun from time to time to throw in a big bad boy.
Yeah.
Or maybe 2, we'll have Kragnos and his buddies versus the Glotkin and his buddies, right?
Or Nagash and his buddies.
Very interested to see what your thoughts are on god models and how they impact the game, whether they're a benefit or a hindrance. For our experience, it's not something we would want, it's not something I would want to play with every time. because standard Warhammer is pretty fun, and I like having lots of units, and a god model is just going to make it so you can't have lots of units. It is fun to sort of throw Morathi in and see how she changes the game and what the response is. Drake, are you excited for any of these?
The tap one.
Kragnos? Kragnos and his trolls?
Yep. Kragnos and his 5 trolls.
Well, you're going to have some trolls, because you'll still need your troll battle line. So that's at least 3 units.
Hopefully I'll have a
You'll still have your troll boss.
Imagine a Mangler 3-6 charge. That's scary.
I think the scariest ones, like you mentioned, are the ogres that get the impact hits. That is the scariest.
But the thing is,
like getting a Mangler to you that much sooner, like that might get you into combat a turn sooner.
This could
that
turn.
Could be brutal.
That guy can turn Gloomspite gets into an Alpha Strike army.
He can turn any destruction into an Alpha Strike army.
Or with Gloomspite, trolls semi-alpha.
Well, thank you so much for watching. If you have any experience that you want to share about god models, I'm super interested. And it's going to take some time, obviously, for us to get these built and painted up. So it might be a while before you see them on the channel. But if you have any input on which one we should be doing first and what you'd like to see on the channel, definitely drop it in a comment below. I'd be interested to see it and maybe go in that direction. Final thoughts, Drake?
I don't know how happy I'll be when I see Kragnos leading a head of orcs. I don't know how happy I'm going to be then.
Oh, they're gonna be very happy. They'll wah. They're gonna wah.
And when he comes through, like, Kragnos can probably single-handedly wipe out a Death Star of Chain Rasps.
Yeah, I mean, at least they have Ethereal, right? Because that means all of Kragnos' rend won't matter.
Yeah.
But
he
can do some damage. He can do some damage.
And even then, Chain Rasps are a 5-up save.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, he'll probably hit hard.
I'm scared.
All right, well, anyway, this has been Battle Ready, and thank you so much for watching.